welcome to the Statehouse. Our house is now occupied. Whose house? Whose house? Whose house? Woo! How we doing, everybody? My name is John Joyce. I'm with the Rhode Island Homeless Advocacy Project, and I'm going to be emceeing today. We're here not asking but demanding the people who work in our house to end foreclosure and stop homelessness in our state. What we're going to hear today are solutions to do that. For some reason, the people who work in our house do not want to listen. We're here today to tell the people who work for us, this is going to stop now. I see a lot of tents. This tent is not affordable housing. We got a list of speakers here today that's going to tell you about foreclosure and homelessness. This should not go on in our state. As a Rhode Islander, as an American, and especially as a human being, housing should be a human right number one. First up, we're going to have a constituent from the Rhode Island Homeless Advocacy Project named Marty, and she's going to be coming up here with Megan Smith, co-director of the Rhode Island Homeless Advocacy Project. Let's hear it for them.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marty, and I'm homeless. Because there are no jobs, I'm a CNA. I had to leave a job 3 years ago to take care of my stepmom who was ill. After she passed, I was living with my father, but I had to leave because he lives in subsidized housing, and it was either me leave or him being thrown out for violating his lease. I came to Providence because the shelter in Westerly, where I'm from, was full. When I first got here, I was terrified. I've been in a shelter here for just under a year. Since I've been staying in the shelter, I felt like the low person on the totem pole. You have to make appointments for everything. It's belittling. I've been looking for work, and I took a class to build a better resume, a perfect resume, but still nothing. When it's one job for 100 applicants, you know you're not going to get it. People look down at you when your mailing address is a homeless shelter. They don't call you back. Healthcare is another thing. I was lucky enough to get connected to a clinic and a year of free prescriptions. I'm trying to get care from a specialist, but the waits between appointments is horrible. I get vitamin shots because the food chain out here is terrible. Your body starts to deteriorate. The other women with me at the shelter have challenges accessing health care. It's very hard to get medical, and it depends on the info you get from your case manager. Now the shelter is trying to see what my medical records are. I don't think that's anybody's business. It makes me feel angry and violated. I wish people who work at the agencies would give us the info and motivation. We need places where you can afford to live. Transportation is also a big factor because I don't have a car. I don't have a job to pay for a riptech to get there. My mother passed away this summer, and it has been a hard time. This is my first holiday without her, and it's going to be in a shelter. I would like to be back home in Westerly at work with my own apartment and able to see my family.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Marty, so much for sharing that with us. So I don't know about to all of you, but to me that seems like it should be a reachable dream. A home, a job, and a community that includes you, that cares for you, that reaches out to you. But to many Rhode Islanders, this dream is just out of reach. And the reason it's out of reach is because we as a society haven't taken the steps necessary to make it within reach. We are here today to change that and demand real and substantive solutions from our legislators. One part of this solution is a homeless bill of rights. It ensures that folks who find themselves homeless, like Marty, have equal access to employment, health care, and housing. And until that housing can be attained, shelter where people can be safe and not be discriminated against based on their housing status. The goal of the Homeless Bill of Rights is to ensure that all homeless individuals are treated with respect. It disgusts me that such a bill is even necessary, because I firmly believe that we as a community and our legislators as representatives of that community should treat all Rhode Islanders with dignity, regardless of where they live or how much they make. And it disgusts me that it takes all of us standing here today with our voices raised in anger to get the state to acknowledge the problems of homelessness, foreclosure, and economic injustice. It should be enough to inspire outrage that even one of our fellow Rhode Islanders is left without a job, a community, or a home to call their own on any given night. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty and Megan. I'm a little pissed. Enough is enough. What we need out here are jobs that pay a living wage so we can afford rent. We don't have to work over 100 hours at minimum wage just to afford fair market rent in this state. It is unacceptable. So I'm pissed. The next speaker, we're going to have Teresa Price from Direct Action for Rights and Equality with the Homeowners and Tenant Association. Let's hear for Teresa.
Hello. Power to the people, everybody. Power to the people. Power to the people. My name is Teresa. I'm a member of DARE, which stands for Direct Action for Rights and Equality. Everyone knows that having a roof over your house and a warm place to stay is a basic human right in this country. But because of the actions of greedy corporations and big banks, many families don't have these basic rights. The gap between the rich and the poor is getting wider. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. Rhode Island is leading our nation in foreclosures. This fact leads to evictions, which then leads to homelessness. One of our campaigns at DARE is called the Tenant and Homeowners Campaign. We deal with people facing foreclosure or are in foreclosure and are attempting to help them avoid evictions from the banks. Because homeowners are not getting loan modifications or principal reductions, many are and have been foreclosed on, or they have to walk away from their homes because they are underwater, which means they owe more on their homes than the homes are worth. We at DARE are working on a bill that will be pushing through the Statehouse in 2012 called Just Cause Right to Rent Bill. The banks could allow people to stay in their homes as legal tenants, and the banks should allow people to stay in their homes. We know unoccupied houses lead to houses being vandalized or set on fire. The abandoned, distressed homes are dragging down the property value of all of our communities. As a result, we have blighted neighborhoods. Obviously, if people were able to remain in the property, we'd have less homeless people. Homelessness leads to social problems and a multitude of family hardships. The word homeless is an abomination. Our state and nation should be appalled and enraged that we have a term for many struggling, shelterless, trying to make them faceless people. Power to the people! Power to the people! Some of the faces to the homeless now are people with jobs, looking for shelter or sleeping in their cars. Many are innocent children. Some are people with emotional problems, victims of abuse, and others who are vulnerable. And let's not get too smug, because many of us are only one paycheck from eviction or foreclosure. Okay? A new report says the foreclosure rate in this country has reached only the 50% mark. Banks have and will continue to put more people out in the streets. Our campaign at DARE is working on finding ways to keep people in their homes. By avoiding foreclosure and the post-foreclosure evictions. It doesn't matter whether the family is the tenant or the landlord. We want them to stay in their homes. That's why we need Just Cause Right to Rent. Just Cause right to rent bill would stop the banks from evicting people after foreclosure and force the banks to take the rents, allowing people to stay in their homes.
Okay. Hi there. My name is John Prince, and I'm with DARE, Direct Action Rights and Equality. When you talk about human rights, that's housing is human rights for all people, especially the folks that come out of prison. They have rights too, but they gotta live, they gotta eat, and they got family also. That what got me pissed off, because they can't live with their family, especially if they live in a subsidized housing. So that forces that person out to live in a shelter because he can't live with his kids. We at DARE was fighting diligently to change this law because housing is a human right for all of us. So what do we want? When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Housing! When do we want it? Now! That's right, we want it quick and we want it now. Thank you.
With DARE and all of us here today who fight homelessness and injustices, the fight has begun, and we will continue to fight as long as necessary by any means possible. What we need from every person here is your support, your time and your help in getting these bills passed. Upon passage, the Just Cause right to rent bill and the Ban the Box bill will go a long way towards eradicating homelessness and ending social injustice. When called upon at the Statehouse, come to help us fight. Tell your friends, your family, your enemies, co-workers, and all you meet. Now is the time to come together to fight for a future that is without homelessness. Power to the people! He's Darlena.
Hi, everybody. I'm Darlena, and I'm just talking because I was homeless, and I really got to say that. I was homeless under a year, and just maybe a week ago, I got back on my feet. But it was a struggle, and I am with DARE. I just became a member, and it's the way to go. I mean, come on. We all know what we need. We all know what we have to do to get it. So let's do that and stick together with one another because we need one another.
Our head of the Tenant Homeowners Association, we have a paper to pass around. Anyone that wants to get involved with DARE and help with this situation of helping to pass this bill. And if you know anyone that has a problem being kicked out because of foreclosures, also let us know. I thank you. Solidarity.
Welcome home, everyone. I live in the city by the sea. I live in Newport, Rhode Island. And I wake every day to the smell of the ocean air, and I fall asleep at night to the sound of foghorns. I can hear them in the distance almost every night. And I am so fortunate that I live there. I live in Park Home. I have wonderful neighbors. I can walk through my community every day and every night, and I know everyone that lives there, either by their face or by their name. My community gives me a calming stability. I grew up in a rural community where I worked my whole childhood. My stepfather was torture abusive, and I never knew the meaning of stability. I was married at a really young age. I became a Navy wife, and we moved a lot. And I still couldn't understand stability. And after my divorce, I tried to become stable. I moved in with my family, but I became homeless.
These testimonies I just heard, there's a lot of struggles of a lot of Rhode Islanders today. If these legislators, the people who work for me and you and everybody else does not hear that message, there's something wrong. We put these people in this house and we can take them out. Of course, you got to do the regular congratulations to all the organizers on Organizers Day today. Let's give them a round of applause. Let's hear it for direct action for rights and equality. Rhode Island Homeless Advocacy Project. Rhode Island Coalition for the Homeless. Rhode Island Challenge for Justice Solidarity Committee. In closing with this, I hope a lot of people will hear this message, not just between ourselves. Spread the word. There's 3 legislative things that are going to be at our house this year. We got the Homeless Bill of Rights. We have a dedicated funding stream for affordable housing. We also got the Just Cause for foreclosure. Tell people, get the word out. We will be back. We'll 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 be back. Thank you. Now we're going to have a moment. Occupy Providence is going to close it up for us. Let's hear it for Occupy!
And John mentioned the 3 bills that we're here today to support and that we know are going to pass because they're necessary for our state and because we know that we as a force are unstoppable and that another world is possible. That we are unstoppable. Another world is possible. We are unstoppable. Another world is possible. We are unstoppable. Another world is possible. We are unstoppable. Another world